James Road Race was the last event on the programme. It was going to take the riders over 6 hours to cover a 258-kilometre course. We're looking at the breakaway group on the final lap of the race. It had been quite an eventful race up till then. An early attack on the third lap had seen a group of riders go through, including Gianni Bugno. Gianni Bugno, 34 years of age, was going to retire after this race. He'd twice been world champion. He went with an early break to show there was still fire in his legs, as he'd shown in the Tour of Spain when he won a stage there. But that breakaway group only lasted about one lap. And so it was then that as they came into the final lap, this group on your screen now had prized themselves away from the rest of the pack, and going up towards the Bemelenberg with some 8 kilometres to go, there was a surprise attack from Oscar Camazin. There were two of the Swiss riders in the break. Oscar Camazin, together with Nicky Ebersol, and also in the breakaway group, Lance Armstrong there in the blue, the white and the red. The orange jersey, Michael Bogart, ex-champion of Holland, knew the course well, and a lot of eyes were on him. But who would chase down Oscar Camazin? In the light blue, dark blue and white stripes of Italy was Bartoli. He crashed earlier on, and he joined the breakaway group only towards the back end of the 13th lap. But then suddenly Bogart had troubles. He punctured his front wheel. This was a disaster as far as he's concerned, because the pace had really shot up. Each of the laps had gone faster and faster and faster. And on this final lap, Bogart had to stop and change the wheel. The rest of the convoy went through, at least had to give him some shelter on his way back. And Jerry Knaterman, the team manager, urged him on, as Chris, the mechanic for the Dutch team, pushed him back into action. Still a lot of indecision amongst the chasers. They could see Oscar Camazin down the road. Bartoli on the left there decided to go. Armstrong in the blue went after him. And then the other man in this break, Van Petegem, he joined the break with Bartoli and had been sitting in for quite a bit, doing a bit of work and a bit of work there, but now he was not sure whether to go past the two, because Bartoli and Armstrong have been the hot tips for the medals. So Van Petegem hovered behind them. And in the red jersey with the white cross on, the Swiss champion Ebersol, just waiting for things to happen. He'd also won a stage in the Tour of Spain and in the Tour of Switzerland. He wasn't going to chase down his teammate, but the man doing a tremendous amount of chasing was Bogart. All around the course, the news had gone out that this man had punctured. The Swiss had played a perfect double act, because Oscar Camazin knew if he got caught, Ebersol could go away. Ebersol was being towed along behind the chase. An absolute tumultuous roar as Bogart went up the climb. He could see the four men in front. But what damage was he doing to himself on the climb? How much effort was he putting in? How tired will he be if he gets there? If the crowd's enthusiasm was anything to go by, they'd will him straight onto the back of that pack, but he had to work at it. And at the top of the climb, Van Petegem decided to come off the wheels and try and pull back the flying leader, Oscar Camazin. Bartoli grit his teeth and went after him. Armstrong was in trouble. It's Armstrong that started all the activity. He was the one who led the first break, but now he's beginning to pay for it. Behind the white car, the official was asking the Dutch team car to get out of the way. But Bogart was really hammering along here, and there's nowhere really for the car to go. Yet again, the mechanic looks back to see if he's all right. Unaware of the danger and the damage going on behind, that A, the danger, Bartoli was coming up him, and damage B, that Bogart was struggling after the puncture. Camazin pressed on towards the finish. Armstrong on the wheel of Ebersol from Switzerland had to do something. There was no way Ebersol was going to tie him up, so after a bit of a breather, Armstrong took off. Still, Bogart was fighting to get back in the pack. By now he could clearly see the two in front of him, and he finally got up to Armstrong and Ebersol. This would add some power to it as well, because Ebersol wouldn't do any chasing and Armstrong needed help, so Bogart went straight past. Ahead of them then lay Van Petegem and Bartoli, chasing down this man Oscar Kamazin. The final descent into Valkenburg. This amazing course seeing its 4th World Championships. This, the 95th professional championship of the world. On this course, Marcel Kind had won the race. Another winner, Brick Schott, both of them hard men. And then Jan Raas in 1976 had romped up this hill with the 4 or 5 men with him, but beat them in the sprint. But now Kamazin was going on his own. Switzerland had not won a World Professional Road Championship since Ferdy Kubler in 1951. Lance Armstrong had been champion of the world in Oslo under very similar conditions, wet, rainy and cold. Van Petegem, this year, having a fine year. He'd won the Het Volk, one of the toughest races on the Belgian calendar. But for Kamazin, he had not won a race all season. Previous Swiss champion had now committed himself totally, and so had Bogart. The gap back between Kamazin and the chasers at one time was only 10 seconds to the 2 men behind, and a minute and a half back to the chasing group, Armstrong, Ebersol and Bogart. They could see him going along the final 2 kilometres, but he realised he had just about enough left to acknowledge the crowd's applause. He could not believe it, Oscar Kamazin, the Swiss rider, coming down the finishing straight, that his first win of the season was going to be the World Elite Road Championship in Valkenburg. He had time to acknowledge the applause of the crowd, to sit up and savour the moment, but he couldn't believe it. Behind, the chase was still on to try and get the silver and the bronze. Was Bogart going to get back to these two? They started to play cat and mouse. Bogart, Armstrong and Ebersol were closing the gap down, but then they accelerated, and it's going to be a battle for the other 2 medals now between these 2. And on the right hand side, Van Petegem from Belgium came through to take it just ahead of a very tired Bartoli of Italy. Just some 23 seconds separating them from this man Oscar Kamazin, the champion of the world. Behind, the sprint for 4th place meant there were no medals going to any of these 3 riders. But conversely, they battle their way around the 258-kilometre course, racing for over 6 hours. Still, the determination of Armstrong took him through to yet another 4th place. He finished 4th in the World Time Trial Championship, 4th in the road race today, and 4th in the Tour of Spain, which finished just 2 weeks ago. With elated Oscar Kamazin then getting up on the rostrum for the first time since 1951. A great end to a very successful series of World Championships at Valkenburg in Holland.